Okay, so today our topic is one of the easiest topics, that is simultaneous equations. And there are two ways to solve the simultaneous equations. You can use elimination or substitution, and it doesn't matter which way which method you use. Both of the methods, they are really easy, and it depends upon the question really. So choose any method you are comfortable with, and we're going to solve two types of questions today. One in which both the equations are linear, that is the simple equations, and the other one is a simple equation and the other one would most probably be a non-linear, mainly most probably be a quadratic equation. Okay, so now we have a question which is 2x plus 3y is equal to minus 15 and 3x plus 5y is equal to minus 26, and the question says that we have to solve by elimination. Now, what do we mean by elimination? Elimination means here removing one variable. Now, the variable can be y also, it can be x also, depending upon the question. In this question though, this was the original question, that is 2x plus 3y is equal to minus 15 and this equation. So, if we try to do it with y, it would be harder. So, we'll choose x here because basically the concept of elimination is that one variable has to be positive, the other has to be negative, and they have to be the same, meaning it should be like 3x minus 3x is 0 or just like that. So we'll multiply this the first equation by 3 because 3 multiplied by 2 is 6, and then the whole equation by 2 because 2 multiplied by 3 is 6 also. And remember to multiply the whole equation by this number. You can't just multiply one term of this equation. So 3 multiplied by 2 would be 6x, 3 multiplied by 3y would be 9y, and 3 multiplied by minus 15 would be minus 45. In the next equation, we have 2. So 2 multiplied by 3 would be 6x, and then 5 2 is 10y, and then 2 is minus 26, which is minus 52. Okay, so we were left with 6x plus 9y is equal to minus 45, and 6x plus 10y is equal to minus 52. Now, we can't just cancel 6x and 6x. One has to be positive, one has to be negative. So then you multiply the whole of any one of the equation. You can choose this equation also or this equation also. You have to multiply the whole equation by this sign, that is the subtraction sign. Okay, and so when we multiply this whole equation with the subtraction sign, it will turn into minus 6x, and plus would turn into minus, that is minus 10y, and this was originally it was minus 52 as we have multiplied here. Now it has turned into a plus 52. So now our final equations are 6x plus 9y is equal to minus 45, and minus 6x minus 10y is equal to 52. Now we've got what we wanted originally, that is this thing, and if we plus 6x minus 6x is 0, meaning we have eliminated x, thus like the word elimination. So it was 0 here, and plus 9y minus 10y would obviously be minus y, and plus 52 minus 45 is 7, which means y is equal to minus 7. This means that we found out the value of one variable. Now, to find out the value of the second variable, we'll just have to substitute because we've got one value and we can easily find the second value by putting it into any one of the equations. Basically, you can use all four of the equations. I'm just using the first one because it's the simplest. So we have to substitute y is equal to minus 7, as we've already found out, into any of the two equations, these or from these. Okay. So 2x plus 3y is equal to minus 15, and then we've already found out the value of y, which is minus 7. 2x minus 21 equal to minus 15. Minus 15 plus 21 would be positive 6, and x is equal to 6 divided by 2, and x is equal to 3. So we have found out our answers by elimination, that is minus 7 and 3. Okay, so our next question is, solve the simultaneous equations 2x plus y equal to 7 and x minus y is equal to 8 by substitution. So now there are two methods of substitution. Basically not two methods, but two ways of solving the same thing by substitution. Okay. So the first one is expressing both the equations, meaning this equation and this equation, in terms of y or in terms of x, and then equating them, meaning like, putting them equal to each other, okay? I'll explain both the methods. This one is my favorite. This one is like, the easier method. And the second one is expressing one equation, like, like expressing one equation in terms of y or in terms of x, meaning this would be like y is equal to 7 minus 2x, and then you substitute the value of y in the other equation. Okay, so you can do that also. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to explain the first method, that is equating both of the equations when you have expressed them in terms of y or x. Okay, so the first equation was 2x plus y equal to 7, and the second equation was x minus y is equal to 8. So if we express it, the whole equation in terms of y, it would be y is equal to 7 minus 2x, and if we do the same with the other equation, it would be x minus 8 is equal to y. We could have also done it with x also, but that would have been like more complicated, because then it would be 2x equal to 7 minus y and x equal to 7 minus y divided by 2, and then we would have to deal with fractions, okay? So now this equation is like expressed in terms of y. So it's 7 minus 2x and x minus 8. So this is y and this is y. The y remains the same for both of the equations. So we'll just equate the both of them. That is 7 minus 2x is equal to x minus 8. And then, of course, you know how to solve the equation. That is 7 plus 8 equal to x plus 2x. 15 is equal to 3x. X is equal to 5. And then we've found out x. We have our one variable. Now we need to find the second variable. And to find the second variable, you would apply the same method, that is substitution. You would substitute the value of x into any of the equations. You could have chosen this one, that one, even this one, because all of them, they're the same, okay? So I've chosen this one because it gives you directly the value of y. You don't have to move the terms here and there. So y is equal to 7 minus 2 bracket 5, because 7 minus 2x, and then you substitute the value of x. 7 minus 10, y equal to minus 3. So our final answer is x is equal to 5 and y is equal to minus 3. Okay, so now we're going to solve the same question by the other method. That is, we're going to express one equation in terms of y or x and then substitute this into the other equation. Now, remember, if you're using this method, you have to choose the equation that is easiest, in this case, this one is the easiest. It's like, easier to express. You could have also written it as x is equal to 8 plus y and then substituted x, in this equation. But I've chosen y here, okay? Because then you wouldn't have to multiply it by 2 also. So x minus y is equal to 8, and then if you take the y on the other side, it would be x minus 8. So now it's expressed in terms of y. In the other equation, of course, we'll substitute this. So now it will be 2x plus x minus 8 is equal to 7. And then you just have to solve it like you normally do. That is 2x plus x equal to 3x minus 8 is equal to 7, and 3x equal to 15, x equal to 5. We've got the same answer. So this is also a verification method. So x equal to 5, and when x equal to 5, you could plug in this value of x into any of the equations, and you would get y is equal to 3. And after this equation, as you can see here, x minus 8, so 5 minus 8 is equal to minus 3. Stop. Okay, so our next case is when one equation is linear and the other one is a quadratic, and this is our last case, okay? Now, the question says y minus x equal to 1 and 2x squared minus 11y is equal to minus 16. And you have to find the value of x and y, of course. Before solving the equation, we would need to look at, or we would need to think for a moment which method would be the best to use here. Now, elimination first, that is the first method we learned, would definitely be time consuming, because you would have to put both of these equations underneath one, and then you would have multiply this equation, for example, with 11, and then change the sign and so on. Okay, so avoid doing elimination in your examination. because you could save your time for other difficult questions also. The second method is substitution method number 1. That is the method where you express both of the equation in terms of y or in terms of x, and then you equate the equations to each other. Now, if we use that method, you will have to deal with fractions, because this, of course, it is y. If you express this equation in terms of y, would be y equal to 1 plus x, but this equation would be a little harder to express in in terms of y. So it would be 2x squared minus 16. You take the 11y on the other hand, and then you divide the 11, so you're left with y. Okay, and then you would obviously equate both of them, and then you can find out the value. Now this is an easier method, but you have to deal with fractions, and if you don't like to deal with fractions, then I would suggest you don't use this method. The third method is, of course, the substitution method number 2. Here there are no fractions, okay? You just have to express this equation, that is y minus x equal to 1. Of course, you will express this equation in terms of y, because this is the easier one. You won't obviously do that, because it's harder. So, but you can get answers from any method, okay? So y is equal to 1 plus x, and then this equation is 2x squared minus 11y is equal to minus 16. So you would replace the y with this value, that is y is equal to 1 plus x, and then you can further solve it. So now I will solve this question with this method, because this is the easiest, but you could also do it with this one also. Okay, so now we have this question, and I'm going to solve it by substitution method number 2. So y minus x is equal to 1, and I have just expressed this equation in terms of y, that is y is equal to 1 plus x, and I'm going to plug in this whole thing, that is the value of y, into this equation. So 2x squared minus 11y is equal to minus 16. I'll replace the value of y with this, that is 1 plus x, okay? So 1 plus x, and then you just, of course, you solve it, you simplify it, and then you're left with 2x squared minus 11x plus 5. Now, of course, there are several methods of solving a quadratic equation. You could use breaking the middle term, you could use the grid method, you could use the square method, you could even use applying the formula, even though that would be ridiculous here. But yeah, you could solve it in any method that you like. Okay, so I'm using here breaking the middle term, and when you solve the equation, you are left with 2x minus 1 and x minus 5. Equate both of these brackets to 0, you're left with two values of x. X is equal to 5 and x equal to half. Now, before I tell you to substitute it into y, just there is a trick. I mean, not a trick, but there's an indication of how many values of x there would be. If they're saying it's an x squared, so x squared would be 2 values of x. If they said x cubed, there would be 3 values of x. If they said x to the power 4, it would be 4 values of x. So this tiny power here, it indicates the answers of x, or the roots of x, okay, or the answers to this question, okay. So now x is equal to 5 and half. So when x would be 5, the value of y would be 6, and by if you substitute this value into any of the equations, okay. So it's 6, but when x equal to half, or when x equal to half, yeah, not minus half, half. So it would be y is equal to 1 plus half, that would be y is equal to 3 over 2. So when x equal to 5, the y is equal to 6. If then when x equal to half, y is equal to 3 over 2. And remember, never express your answers in simultaneous. Never express them in decimal, because that's very confusing. And when you express the answers in terms of fraction, your examiner is your examiner basically feels pleased. Okay, so don't ever express them in decimals. So that's for it today. In the next video, I'll solve word problems based on simultaneous equations, so that we know how to interpret a word problem, basically translate English into mathematical equations. Thank you.